Hey everyone, it's John Parker, and you are watching Music, Motivation, and Mindset. And we bring on some of the best people in the music industry, and we talk about like their careers, their upcoming, what kind of motivated them to do what they do. And tonight we got a real special guest I know you're going to love. So definitely, keep watching for this one. It's a good friend of mine, and I think you'll really like it. So, but before we get started, for those of you guys on Twitch, if you could just throw a follow on the channel, that would help a lot. We're trying to get to the affiliate status, and I got to put some more hours in to do that, but I'm going to do it. So, with that said, let me bring on our guest today. It is the wonderful Miss Judy Torres. So let me pop this in here. I always got to take some time and add the stream, but whatever. Hey,
Hi,
Judy.
John. Hi.
What's going on? Oh, I forgot your applause. Hold on. I'll get some applause for you.
Oh my God, I haven't heard applause in a long time.
Well, that's why we got to get you a little bit. We got to get you revved up for this summer where hopefully, we get open again.
Oh my gosh. Crazy.
How you been?
Crazy. I've been like everybody, up and down and everywhere that we don't want to be.
I hear you. But, look, hopefully there's some daylight here at the end of this tunnel, and, we're coming out of it a little bit and things will get better. That's what we're all praying for.
I hope so. It's been really challenging for everyone. And every time I feel like complaining, I realize, well, I have my health.
Yes.
And I have my loved ones. So I have no right to complain.
Right.
But it's hard, It's hard.
Well, yeah, it's hard being confined. I don't think humans are supposed to be that way.
And I'm not the confining type at all. I'm a social butterfly. I love to be around people. I love to talk. I love to go places, do things, try things. It's like, I can never get enough. So this has been the hardest for me to stay still,
No, I don't doubt that at all, Not at all. So Judy, let's talk about how you first, your career is been around for a while. You started in the early 80s, right? It was a mid 80s?
I started professionally singing like about 87.
Okay.
So it's been 33 years, something like that.
Right.
Let me say 87, 97, 07, 17. That's 30, 21, almost going on 34 years soon.
Wow. Yeah.
And I never thought it was going to last this long. Never.
So
go ahead.
What made you get into singing in the beginning?
Oh, I was obsessed with musicals since I was a kid. My mom put on The Wizard of Oz, and she put it on every year. And I was crazy about Judy Garland's voice. I just crazy about it. And I would be like in awe of her, like, wow, look, she's so beautiful. So I never used to like my name until I saw Judy Garland. And then I was like, okay, that's cool. She's Judy. And then I told my mom, I said, you know what? I know what I'm going to do now. When I grow up, I'm going to be a singer. And I'm going to sing with Judy Garland, because her name is Judy and my name is Judy. And it'll be like tonight, Judy and Judy. It'll be awesome. And I had no concept of the fact that the musical was already recorded. I thought it was live every year. So when my mother told me that Judy Garland died, I died. I was like, oh my God. But,
devastating.
Listening to musicals always helped me escape from reality. When things were hard, I would just blast musicals. I listened to Chorus Line, Evita, Les Miserables. Everything. And so I thought originally that I was going to be on Broadway. That's what I was aiming to do. Even in college, I was in the musicals and things like that. Okay. And so then I knew right out of high school, I have to get discovered, because that's your dream. Yeah. And I always imagined a man in a three-piece suit with a big business card, and he was going to look all suave and say, "Here you go, honey, and I'm going to make you a star."
You're in the big time now.
It never happens like that. Life never happens. You tell God a plan, and then He laughs at you. Right. And but anyway, I performed in a gong show in a little club in Parkchester called Side Street. Okay. And one of the judges almost gonged me, and that judge ended up becoming my first manager.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. So he got me gigs in different nightclubs, and I didn't have any original music. So I was singing Whitney Houston covers. Imagine these real high energy dance clubs. And there I go getting up on stage and singing You Give Good Love, and it was the wrong choice of songs. But one day he said to me, you need original music. So I said, okay, I know that, but what are we going to do? So he said, I have a friend named Mickey. He's looking for a singer. And I auditioned for Mickey Garcia. And he gave me a song called Love's Gonna Get You. And he was working with C Bank and another singer named Vicki Ryan. And he gave her a song called No Reason to Cry. So the night before we were all going to record, we were listening to one of their songs, and I heard No Reason to Cry, and I went over to her and I said, I'm so jealous. I love that song. And she said to me, no, I don't even like that song. I like your song. So we asked Mickey if we could switch, and he said yes. So we did. So that's how No Reason to Cry came about. I never knew. It didn't have a name. It wasn't called Freestyle. It wasn't called anything.
No.
I just liked the positive message, and I thought in my head, I can hear people singing this song, to cheer people up, to give them hope. This is a great song.
Right.
And little did I know it's gonna end up here 30-something years later.
That was the launching pad there.
Yeah, definitely.
So now you met Mickey through your manager at the time.
Right.
And so No Reason to Cry was like the first in the string of many hits with Mickey, So now how was it going into the studio for the first time and getting to really kind of live your dream a little bit? And you're like, are you overwhelmed, or is it kind of like, this is what I hope for and this is really what I want to do?
I was so psyched the first day we were going to the studio. I was young. I was 17. I was just so excited. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yes, my dream is coming true. And in my head, I imagined these big like glass doors and parquet floors. And that silver mic that comes from the ceiling.
Yeah.
I was like thinking like Mariah Carey kind of thing, And Mickey picked me up. And he's like, we're going to the studio. You ready? And I'm like, yeah. So we go to Elvin Molina's house. Elvin was his partner.
Yes.
We go to Elvin's house, and Mickey says, are you ready? I'm like, yeah, let's go. He's like, take your coat off. I said, no, we're going to the studio. He's like, no, we're here. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is an apartment in the Boogie Down Bronx. Where's the like big studio? And
the lights.
I was like, what? And then to top it all off, it was in Elvin's bedroom. And then I got scared because I was like, oh my God.
What's going on here?
I heard stories about producers trying to sleep with artists, and oh my God. And I was like, no. And thankfully, there was no bad intention from them or anything like that. But, we recorded with a microphone on a little itty bitty, I don't even know how many tracks it was. It was so tiny. And, the sound was sensitive, so it picked up everything. So if someone flushed the toilet, we had to start all over again. There was no auto-tune at the time or anything like that. So you just had to sing. And if it wasn't perfect, you sang it over and over and over. And I think it was like 7 or 8 hours later that we finished No Reason to Cry.
That's so wild. Mm-hmm. And then now you've done, and you did it in that straight time, right? It was one kind of night and you got it all done?
Yeah, we got it all done in one day. Yeah. And it was funny, the whole thing. I told Mickey, I said, Mickey, I have an idea. What if I talk in the beginning of the song? He goes, what do you mean talk in the beginning of the song? I said, well, what if I say, something sexy? Like, just talk like the chorus. He's like, okay, go ahead. So it's hilarious when I hear it back, because I'm like, here I am, this 17-year-old. I don't even know the word sexy yet. And I'm like, there's no reason for you to cry, my love. I'll always be around. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? And it's so funny. It's like now when I perform it, I have to do it that way, because that's how they remember it, and that's how they want it. It's so funny.
That's so fantastic. Now you're leaving the studio and you're all hyped about this record, and So how long did it take from that process, from finishing the production to getting it signed? Because you were signed to Jackie Jack at first.
We were signed to Jackie Jack, and it was hilarious because I was like, who? What's Jackie Jack? My whole life, when I realized I wanted to become a singer, I thought I was going to be on Arista Records. I even wrote to Clive Davis at the time.
Wow.
And he was kind enough to write back. Let me tell you, that was class act all the way. Yeah. I think I wrote him like I was like 10, and I was like, hey, Mr. Davis, I just want to let you know I love your label, and I'm a singer. I'm in chorus, and I know that I could be a really good singer, so I hope that you'll sign me one day. And he wrote me back, yeah, when you're ready, definitely love to hear you, but good luck. And I just thought it was really classy that, that he wrote it. And but it took a while. Jackie Jack, we got the records pressed. I remember I started performing in nightclubs. Mm-hmm. And the next thing I know, like really quickly, it felt like a matter of weeks, I was told that he was arrested.
Wow.
And I was like, arrested for what? What do you mean he was arrested? First, I'm on this label I never heard of, and now I don't know what. What? I'm involved with someone who's a criminal? And, listen, no disrespect to Jackie Jack, because I would not be here if it wasn't for him. So then from there, I think like a few months later or something like that, Mickey said, "Oh, we're trying to get you on Profile Records." And I'm like, Profile Records? And again, I'm so narrow-minded about Arista. It has to be Arista. So I'm like, no, Arista? What's the major label? Arista. And he's like, no, Profile is a great label. And I said, why? Why is it a great label? He's like, Run DMC's on that label. I was like, really?
Ah.
Okay. All right. I can do Profile. That sounds good. Profile sounds good, And from what I understand, I don't know if it's the true story or not, but I was told that Claudia Cassetta, who worked A&R at the time, she had seen me perform at 1018. And she loved the way the crowd responded to my performance. And I believe she approached Corey, but Corey didn't like the song.
Okay.
And they went back and forth. And she's like, I'm telling you, there's something about this girl. And then I was told that Corey said, fine, but you got to do the music has to be done all over again. And she's got to re-record it. And so that's what we did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Back into Elvin's bedroom and recorded it again. And did it basically the same way, just, I guess a more updated sound, I guess.
Okay.
And I think from there, it took about a year. So maybe the whole process was like a year and a half before it got on the radio.
Yeah.
Best day ever. There's not the way you watch, how you see movies and portray when people hear their song on the radio for the first time and everyone goes crazy. Uh-huh. You really do go crazy. You start screaming. The rush is so, there's like nothing like it. Yeah. There's nothing like it. It's an incredible feeling. And then you try, back then, there was no cell phone, so you had to dial everybody, beep, 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 before the song was over. Hey,
ring. You had to ring.
Put on Hot 103. Put on Hot 103. It was a great feeling though, and what a great time it was too.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And I think that I first met you, and I've told you the story before. Mickey actually went to my college, and we worked at the radio station together. And you were doing a performance for the VIP record pool. And it had to be one of your first appearances because that's where I got the Jackie Jack record, actually. So when you were all decked out in your silver kind of, get up there. And I remember it to this day, and it was it was a special time. And it was a great performance. And, I know my station was playing it like the next day we were on it because it was a special song. Yeah.
It's so funny. I was such a bad performer. When I started, I don't even know if I'm a great performer now, but back then I was such a bad performer. I remember my first show, I had this gold suit on with these red satin gloves and way too much jewelry. And I started to sing, and I remember that George had told me, look, you're singing dance music, so you have to move. So I remember going like side to side, right? But I was so scared, and I was way more overweight than this, and I just couldn't catch my breath. So I was like, happiness between you and me. When you watch somebody on American Idol and they're bombing, and you're just like, it was like that.
It was your William Hung moment.
I remember after that, I was so upset. I got in the limo and I cried, and I remember Mickey and George were both trying to cheer me up, but they knew it was a bad show, so they didn't know what to say. It was like, no, it wasn't that bad. I mean, listen, it was your first show, It was like, and I finally said, I better get my act together. I better start to do something. So
it's so funny.
Yeah.
So then that record went on, and it went on Hot 103 at the time, I believe it was. And that really kind of kicked your career off to being like the Queen of Freestyle, basically.
I mean, that didn't happen right away. And I want to say really quick, because there are, to the freestyle fanatics out there, the freestyle freaks, as I call them, there's more than enough room on the throne. There are definitely more than one queen, for sure. So, but somewhere along the line, I think I was at 1018 or Copacabana, and I heard someone introduce me as the Queen of Freestyle, and I was like, huh?
So it was on?
What happened? So, oh, and I remember when Lizette Melendez first came out with Together Forever, they started introducing her as Queen of Freestyle. So I never really thought myself to be that, but I don't know. It seems to stick.
Well, it does, and it's well, no, it's well earned. And well, you also call yourself the Puerto Rican Wonder Woman with the little spin you
I
do, which
do.
is
That's my
cool.
little spin. Yeah, it's one of my favorite moves, and it's funny how it's not even a big deal. It's just me turning around a few times, but the crowd seems to love it, and yeah, I love it too.
There you go. That's very cool. Let's give a few shout outs. I see Speedy's in the chat there. He loves you
Oh,
guys.
hi, Speedy.
There you go.
I see DJ Chris Craze, DJ Caramel, Tina Marie, Scott. I saw Bree earlier.
Yep.
So yeah, that's cool. And if they have a question, they can post it, right?
Yeah, they absolutely can.
To?
Yep,
Okay.
they sure can. And actually, I do have a question for you. So let me post that. It actually comes from Caramel. She posted it on Facebook earlier today. And it says, how does it feel to be part of a genre that still gets so much rotation today, decades later?
Well, it feels fabulous. I'm telling you, I remember being on the side of the stage, and I remember one day saying to myself, this can't possibly last forever. And before I go on stage, I always say a little prayer. And I remember that I used to say, God, if you could just give me 10 years, just give me 10 and I'll be satisfied. And it's just going on and on. It's like there are no fans better than the freestyle fans. I mean, they just won't let go of the music. They won't let it go. And, it's part of the legacy. It's part of the culture. It's part of New York music history,
Right.
It's an important genre, whether or not it received the right accolades or the right recognition. It's just living in people's hearts,
Yeah, no, it always amazes me when I go to one of the shows and I'm sitting in the audience, and with the crowds that come out and like they're so enthusiastic about the music, they know every word, they're dancing around and having a great time. And here we are. You're talking about 30 years later, and it's still like we were back in the mid 80s with this. And it's a great thing. It's like, and you don't, in my opinion, you still don't hear it enough on the radio. I think that, oldie stations should be playing this in New York because this was the music of New York.
Yeah. It's strange. And I don't want to give any type of negative connotation toward freestyle. It just feels like we're the stepchildren of genres,
Yes.
But it's okay because, like I said, it's the fans that keep it alive. They don't care. They just keep playing it. And I have fans that write me that are 13 years old saying, my grandmother plays your music so much that I love the songs now, Yeah. And so it's nice to see that it's been passed down from generation to generation, Yeah,
no, without a doubt. It is that mother-daughter kind of thing right now, which is totally cool. What's up, Darth Vader? He's another great Twitch streamer, so follow him. Darth Vader. Yeah.
I'm not coming to the dark side. That's all I'm saying.
I've been there and I don't like it. I'm going back.
We've had enough of the dark side this year, last year, whatever.
No, it's continuing, isn't it? That's
crazy.
So funny.
Crazy.
Wow. All right. So now, Come Into My Arms comes out. You're flying high off a hit single, and this one's doing pretty well. So give me a little bit about, what that time was like with that song.
Well, I remember that Corey had given us the condition that if No Reason to Cry did well, we could do a second single. And if the second single did well, then we could do an album.
Okay.
So we were looking for a second single. And one day I was with Mickey in the car, and Mickey said, you have to hear this song. I'm working with this new artist, and I want you to hear it. It's not finished yet. I just I wrote a little bit of it. So I said, okay. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh my God, I have to have this song. So I said to Mickey, have you given her the song yet? He's like, no, I haven't given her the song. I'm just working on it. I said, okay, so I want the song. He's like, yeah, but it's for someone else. I said, okay, how about if I finish writing it and I'll sing it to you? If you don't like the way it sounds, then fine. Okay. But if you like it, it's mine. He said, deal. So I wrote the rest of it and I sang it to him. We recorded it. And then that got on the radio. And it was a great feeling. It was just amazing that I could go on stage just to sing 2 songs. And the crowd was so excited. And to hear it on the radio and to feel like getting recognition and to start all of a sudden I was not performing once a week. I was performing twice and 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little crazy, to be honest with you, but it was great. It was great. It was a great feeling.
Yeah. Okay. And were there any other singles off the first album?
Yes. Love Story.
Yeah.
Was one, and Please Stay Tonight was another.
Right. Okay. And those weren't as big hits, but they were still, the fans ate those up.
Yeah, they still got on the radio. I think, definitely No Reason to Cry and Come Into Arms were the biggest ones, know. And Love Story was the title of the album.
Right.
So I didn't think it should be the first single, but Corey did. Corey Robbins and I have a really great relationship, and I find it fascinating that he signed me twice. Once when he was with Profile, the second time with Robbins Entertainment, and that was you. Yes, that was you. Thank you, thank you, John. Listen, I know nobody's really told me directly, but I know you're very instrumental in supporting my career.
I know.
I'm very grateful for that.
Again, we sat down a couple times over the years, because you used to come into the offices all the time. I mean, I did work at Profile, and actually, I think when the second album came out, they gave me a single to sequence the song, because there was some remixes on there and stuff, and I don't remember which one it was.
From the second album?
Yeah, it might have been I Love You for All Seasons. Or
I Love You for All Seasons was the first single, and then after that, it was supposed to be Every Little Lie, but the name of the album was My Soul, so it had to be one of those 3 songs.
It was Every Little Lie was the first record that I actually got to sequence as a 12-inch.
Oh, nice.
And nice. I remember the story coming back that Judy hates this. It's like she doesn't want it in that order, and I was like, what?
Well, we never. The funny thing is as much as I love working with him, we had a lot of creative differences. But I loved it in a way because kudos to him, I have to say, he never talked down to me. He never disrespected me.
Right.
He loves a good argument, and he will debate you until the cows come home. And if he thinks he's right, and that's it. But I appreciated that he never treated me like a kid. Like, you're just a kid. You don't know anything, or you don't know this business. He listened to me. And we had a lot of really good creative differences in the past. I loved it, actually. When I think about it now, it sounds more exciting than anything, because it was cool to say, why are you kidding me, Corey? I don't want to do that song. It's like, no, but it's a good song. Wow, but why, Corey? No, listen to me. Listen, you're not hearing it, and or when he wasn't happy with when I redid I Go Crazy on the second album, he was like, I don't like this. I'm like, well, I don't know how else to sing it. He said, well, I don't like it. Do it again. I think I recorded it 3 times. And then he still wasn't happy with it. And then the 4th time he went into the studio to watch me record, which was really intimidating. And I had a massive toothache that day. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, no, I mean, Corey is a great, he's got great ears. He understands radio. He's a really good record guy. And, I've had spirited debates with him as well. And, over the years from, my days in Profile, not as much because there I was just kind of a promotion person. But once we started Robbins, and I got to be part of that creative process and sign groups and do all that stuff. Yeah, it became some debates, and some were not heated, but we kind of got at each other a little bit. And that's part of the process, But he's a great guy, and he's a great guy. I mean, I couldn't work for anyone for 20 years almost if he wasn't a great guy,
Yeah.
So no, I definitely appreciate all he's done.
And I appreciate all you've done.
And I appreciate you, Judy.
Yes, Christina Macalusa said John Parker is a gem. Yes, he is.
Yeah, actually, I went to college with her, so she's one of the people at the radio station, which was cool. So I appreciate all of you. Judy, would you ever do a Latin salsa song from George G?
The question of the decade. There was a time when I thought about doing a salsa song, and then here's the issue with salsa. India went and did salsa. George Lamont did salsa. Sapphire did salsa. Corina did salsa. And then Brenda K. Starr did salsa.
Yeah.
Even though I never considered Brenda K. Starr a freestyle singer, I always considered her a pop singer. But I'm fine if she's with us. It's good.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to copy what everybody else was doing. Just because the recipe works for a couple of people doesn't mean it works for me. I think that when you sing salsa, it needs to be in your heart. It needs to be in your soul. And I don't speak Spanish fluently. I understand it, but if as an adult I sound educated, when I speak Spanish, I sound like I'm in third grade. So I've always hesitated, because when people recorded salsa and they can't do an interview in Spanish, they get crucified.
Oh, really?
So that always kind of dissuaded me. However, before this pandemic started, I was getting ready to do one salsa song just to try it.
Dip the toe in.
Well, because last year I performed on a salsa cruise.
Okay.
And I was wondering why they booked me to sing an English freestyle on a salsa cruise. But the show ended up being really great and a lot of fun. And one of the DJs there had said something to me, and I said, "Look, I'll make this promise to you. If you bring me back next year, I will record one salsa record." So even though I never got called to come back, a couple of producers reached out to me and said, "Hey, if you want to do salsa, just let us know."
Okay.
So I was getting ready to do one. I really was. So we'll see. Options are open.
Always keep them open. You never know, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now skipping forward, it was a few years between the second album and the next real big radio hit you had, I believe, and that was "Faithfully," right?
Yes.
So now tell me about,
a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I was there for that, and helped promote it and help, a little bit with A&R, but you would talk to, I mean, that was really you and Corey that kind of put that together. And what I heard is that, he was looking for a record for you to do. And he or someone asked you, what do you sing when you go do karaoke? And that was the go-to record for you. Is that true?
No. I wish it was. No, what happened was, right? So this is what happened. I had just left KTU for work. It was after midnight. I was in my car. I was getting gas. And as I was pulling away out of the gas station, I changed the channel. I was listening to another channel. And I heard "Faithfully," Journey's "Faithfully," And I'm hearing, whoa. And I'm like, man, that would be a nice dance record. Like if we just, speed it up, I could hear the crowd singing the woes with me. And so at the time I was trying really hard to work with the producer Valentin, really hard. I think I was kind of stalking him, to be honest with you. I think I was driving him crazy because we couldn't come up with any ideas, but I knew I wanted to work with him because Vic Latino had introduced me, and Vic said, "You need to work with this guy. This guy is hot and happening." So it's okay, fine. If he's hot and happening, I'm going to find him. So I finally tell him, "Hey, what do you think about "Faithfully"?" It's like, nah. I said, "No, really, listen, if you speed it up." No. So Corey tells me no, he tells me no. I'm like, okay, fine. But then a few days later, Valentin said, since we hung up, I heard the song 4 times. I heard it in the gym. I heard it in the supermarket. I heard it in the car. He's like, "I feel like there's no such thing as an accident, so let's do it." And I said, "Well, here's the problem. I don't have the money." And he said, "Well, don't worry. We'll do it on spec." Okay. That's how much I believe in it. And I said, okay, fine. We recorded. We didn't finish it. We just did basically the skeleton.
Right.
So I go to KTU. I don't tell Jeff. Jeff Z at the time was the PD there. And I said, "Jeff, do me a favor. Can you just listen to this song?" And we put it on, and he was very distracted. He was on the computer. And I remember sitting there going, my God, he's not even listening. This is horrible. So I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, Sky, who was the music director, came running from across the hall. "Oh my God, is that "Faithfully"? Is that "Faithfully"? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, "Oh my God, that's amazing. Who is this?" So I said, "It's me." And then Jeff said, "That's not you." I said, "Yes, it is." "No, it's not." So I said, "You have to remember when I did No Reason to Cry and Come Into My Arms, I was 17 and 18 years old. I'm like 30 something now." So I said, "I would like to think I've matured a little bit." So he's like, turn it up. So he turns it up. And I said, "It's not finished yet, though." He's like, "Well, what's missing?" I said, "The ad-libs, the woes." And he's like, "Okay, well, do me a favor, finish this and bring it to me." I said, "Okay." So I get into the elevator. And as soon as I get into the elevator, my cell phone rings and I pick up the phone. "Hello, it's Corey." "Did you just play "Faithfully" for Jeff?" "Yeah, I thought I told you not to do that song." I said, "But, well, here's the thing. I really think it's a good idea. Send it to me. Okay, so I get home, I send it to him, and the next day he sends me an email. Congratulations, you got a new record.
Oh, wow.
So for the first time in 16 years, I had something on the radio again.
No, that's fantastic. It was a great story. And, if I'm not mistaken, I believe KTU still plays it to this day.
They don't. I wish they did.
No, I thought they still play it like once in a while.
They play Don't Stop Believin', which is odd.
George's.
Okay. Yes, George. Yeah. George Lamont did Don't Stop Believin' right after Faithfully.
Right, which is a funny story with that too, because we were doing summer sessions and we had George down there to do it, and he's on stage, and all the state radio stations are there, and he saw KTU, and I think he was on stage and he goes, "Hey Rob, play my music," and within 2 weeks he said, "Play this song," and within 2 weeks it was kind of added. So
yeah, Rob loves George.
Yeah,
he loves George. Yeah.
Rob's a great guy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So now you had again some more song success, and then things get a little bit quiet. So you go and write a one-woman play about your whole history.
Yeah.
Which was the most amazing thing that I've seen off Broadway ever.
Oh, thanks, John. Thank you. Basically, the story is this. I love cabaret shows. Besides musicals, I love cabaret. So I love the Rat Pack. I like the crooners. I loved Liza Minnelli too. When I found out Liza was Judy's daughter, forget it. And so I thought, when John Leguizamo had his one-man show out and everything, I'm like, man, I would like to do that one day. And I've been talking about it for years, but I never did anything about it. And finally, my best friend called me out and he's like, hey, you keep talking about this one-woman show. Why don't you just do it? And I said, I don't know. He's like, you don't think you could do it? Maybe. So he said, okay, I'll make a deal with you. You write the show and I'll produce it. I said, okay, fine. So I thought originally I'll write the show about my life, about my career, about the things that were going on during my career that people didn't know about. And it'll be something that I can do that's really scary, that I've never done before. And that way, when I turn 50, I can feel like, yes, I did something different.
Right.
And so initially that was the only intention. And the intention was one weekend, Friday and Saturday, and that was it. So when we put the tickets on sale on social media, it sold out like in 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. And so the theater called and said, you have to add a Sunday matinee. There's too many people. They're upset. So we added Sunday, and that turned into months and months of shows. And it was like the best experience of my life. If I could do that today, that's what I would do.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was fantastic. And you touched on so many things that I think that most people growing up in the inner city can kind of relate to. Mm-hmm. And so for you, what was the hardest part about sitting there, going through your life's history and having to write it down and then, relive it as if you were going to relive it on stage? Because there were some traumatic moments in there mm-hmm. that, I don't know how you actually got through it on stage, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, it was tough to do. I mean, all you have to do is think about the worst thing that ever happened to you, and then imagine when you tell it. A lot of times when you retell it, you can still feel that feeling. Yeah. And then you got to tell it over and over again. Mm-hmm. But it was hard, but I love being challenged. And so it was challenging every night to kind of go there all the time. And I always had to kind of, after the show, kind of take a minute to just breathe and tell myself that's over, But I knew my intention, and I wanted people to know the story so that if anything similar had happened to them, I wanted them to know they can survive it too.
Right. No, it's a great message. And, I really think that, people got it and really felt it. And I think that's why, you sold out those, 50, 60 dates, whatever it was.
It was awesome. It was so much fun. Oh my God.
Yeah. So now if we weren't in the situation we're in now with the pandemic, that's something that you would kind of revisit and try to put on stage again? Because
we were actually looking for theaters before this happened. And the first weekend of June, we had planned to do a surprise performance for a weekend in the Bronx at a non-for-profit called Casita Maria. And the whole idea was, to remember my past and go back to the Bronx and do a show. And then that weekend, we were going to announce that we were bringing the show back to the city.
Okay.
And unfortunately, this thing called COVID got in my way and in everybody's way,
It's the one thing that couldn't stop, that had to stop Judy.
When it's over, I still plan to bring it back. I hope we can. I really hope we can.
Yeah, no, I think it would be fantastic. And, I know that you actually filmed the original one too. Would you ever release that on a DVD or run it, somewhere that people could see it, or you want to wait and do the play some more? And then
I definitely want to do the play some more. And
okay.
If it's the success that I hope it is, I hope we have a nice long run this time, a longer run. It'll be grueling, but it'll be worth it. And I think it would be really cool to do an album or to release it on DVD. I would just want it to be super professional.
Yeah.
I would want it done really well, but I don't know. I think it would be really expensive because I don't just sing my songs. I sing other songs from different musicals, and I'm not sure how much that will cost, but we'll see.
You do a cover. That's all. It won't cost that much. You know about covers. Come on.
Yeah, I know about covers. Yeah.
and I was going to say that's the cool thing too, is you do go through your musical journey through your career, like, of other people's music and what got you through some certain situations. Yeah. And, and the way you end the show was just great,
Oh, thank you.
Just everyone's up on their feet singing.
I ended the show speaking to my 7-year-old self. Because I feel like at the age of 7, that's when a lot of things were traumatizing for me. So I felt that it was important to kind of like let yourself know you did it, you made it, you're going to be okay. And then of course everyone was on their feet singing faithfully, and no reason to cry at the end. I'm telling you, it was a great experience. I would not trade it for the world. I'd do it again like that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Let's talk about some of it's still music related, but you are probably, and I can't think of anyone that's been on the air longer at KTU than you. Your
There's
job
one more person, Rocco.
Really?
Rocco's been on a little longer than me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you were on longer than him.
I think I'm the second one in line. Yeah, It's been 22 years now, I think. Yeah, just about 22 years.
So now talk about how you got into radio and what that experience has been like for you, because it's one thing to be up on stage and it's a totally different game to be on the radio, even though you may think about it in your head is the same. You're dealing with an audience, but it's really not.
It's funny, when I was in school, when I was in high school, my music teacher, who was my mentor, Mr. Roman, he used to give me the job of emceeing the concerts, announcing so-and-so has a solo, et cetera, et cetera. And I really didn't like it. It was really terrifying. I didn't like it that much. And then I remember later on hearing a teacher say something about the way I overheard a teacher talking. Let me start again. I overheard a teacher discussing Hispanic students, and she was saying how Hispanic students don't speak properly. And I was like, oh, really? So I tried to be mindful of how I spoke when I did. And I tried to have a better vocabulary, et cetera, et cetera. So one day I do this show in Long Island for KTU, and the crowd was getting rowdy. I think George Lamont was supposed to go on, but he was running late. And so they asked me, the crowd was getting rowdy, and somebody said, Judy, go up there and talk to them. If you go up there and talk to them, just calm them down. So just give them, help stall long enough so George can come on. And I was like, what am I supposed to say? So I went out there. I don't remember what I said. I know I did some kind of a cappella. I said something. They were excited. I left. I did feel good when I walked off. I'm like, oh, good, that worked, And then like 2 weeks later, I got a phone call. Hey, it's Frankie Blue. How you doing? I'm like, Frankie Blue. He's like, yeah, KTU. I'm the program director. Oh, hi, how are you? Good. He's like, listen, I want to know if you want to come on the KTU Dream Team. And when in the 90s, when freestyle was kind of, I worked for an attorney. I was a legal secretary. So I thought he wanted a secretary. So I said, I can type really well. He's like, no, on the air. And I said, look, I went to college, but I didn't finish. And I was majoring in music, not communications. He said, that's okay. We'll train you. And I went in and I trained with Diane Pryor. I trained with a couple people. And then like I don't know, a month later, not even, I was on the air, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I was horrible, actually. I was really like just when I started performing, I sucked. And then one day, Diane Pryor said to me very, very kindly, she said, every DJ here works their own board. So every time you come in and you don't know how to work your own board, they have to pay for 2 salaries. And I felt like she was warning me, like, you better learn your board, girl.
Right.
So I started to learn the board. And then Frankie tells me one day, I think you should do a freestyle show. I said, no. I want to play regular music. I want to be known for something else other than freestyle.
Right.
And because I really, not that I was not proud of freestyle, I just want people to understand that I can do other things.
There's more to you. Yeah.
Exactly. And so one day I walked in and I look at the program and every song is freestyle. I'm like, he did it to me. And so the Freestyle Free For All was born, and it was like the #1 rated show for 12 years. Mm-hmm. It was a great experience. It's still a great experience. And the first time I went on the air, I left the mic on and I didn't know. And I had stuttered because I was so nervous. I said, oh my God, I can't believe that. I'm so stupid. And thank God I didn't curse. Thank God. I usually don't. I try never to curse anyway. But all of a sudden I see all the phone lines light up. All the phone line. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, hello, KTU. They're like, it's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. Thanks. Hold on. Hi, KTU. Hey. And I'm like, oh, and then it hits me. Oh my God, my mic is still on. Oh my God. And sadly, John, I did it again like a month ago.
Oh, really?
Because of the pandemic, we're doing it from home.
From home, yeah.
I swore I thought I turned the mic off. And here I am I was talking to someone on the phone. I was talking to my life coach on the phone. And I was telling her how I had social media drama. And I didn't know. I hung up the phone, not thinking anything of it. And the next morning, I'm looking at my emails, and I had an email from a fan, and he's like, hey, at about 3:33, you left your microphone on. I'm sorry to hear you had so much drama with social media. I'm like, oh my God, my heart fell. My body jumped out of my soul jumped out of my skin. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And I called the boss. I'm so sorry. Thank God I didn't curse. He's like, did you curse? I'm like, no. Did you say anything inappropriate? I don't think so. He's like, okay.
Right. Then you're okay. Yeah. I mean, in college, I know that I've done that and a few other people have done it. And you just kind of go, yeah, it's part of the record. Don't worry about it. It's a new mix.
And he tried to make me feel bad. He's like, Cousin Brucey left his mic on 3 times last night. So don't feel bad. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah. That's so funny. Now, you mentioned a life coach, and I know that that's something that you've gotten into within the last couple of years, and you are a life coach now. So tell me about that journey and what you get out of it for helping other people.
Well, when I was in high school and I was getting ready to graduate, I actually wanted to major in music therapy, but it wasn't a big thing you could major in at the time. So they only offered it at NYU on the graduate level and CW Post, which to me was in Long Island. And in my brain, my young brain, I thought that was too far from the Bronx. So I was like, okay, I'll minor in psychology and I'll major in music. So that's what I was doing. So fast forward years later, right, my career takes off. I stopped college altogether, everything like that. But I always loved psychology. I love the way people think. I love asking why or how, when, what are you going to do with yourself, that kind of thing. And I love human behavior. And so when I decided I wanted to do the one-woman show, I realized that one of the reasons I hadn't written it yet was because I was full of a lot of excuses. And so I originally had hired a life coach for my husband because he was starting a business and I thought it would be good for him to work with one. But he felt like, no, I don't need a life coach. So I figured, okay, well, I paid for 3 sessions. I'll work with her. So she said, what would you like to do? I said, well, I have my mind on this one-woman show, but I don't know how to do it. So she started to break things down for me. And basically taking this massive, huge goal, right, that seems overwhelming. You have nowhere to start. Right. And she broke it down in little doable pieces. And so about 4 months into us working together, I had been telling her about some advice I had given to friends and things like that. And she said, you'd be really good as a life coach. I said, I think that I would love to do that because it's like the second next best thing to being a psychotherapist. Mm-hmm. And she said, so why don't you? And I said, because it costs a lot of money. And she said, well, if you really want it, you go for it. You'll find ways, etc. And so long story short, I got my certification as a master life coach. and I'm trained in general life coaching, purpose life coaching, and happiness coaching.
Wow.
So I've been doing that for like 2 years now. And now with the pandemic, I realized, okay, no performing, coaching it is. So that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I actually bought your life coach's book because I saw it on News 12. You did a kind of segment with her.
Yeah, she wrote a book called Rescripting. Yeah, she's really great. She's amazing. Colleen Georges is her name. She's really amazing.
Yeah, you should pick up that book. It's really cool. But be ready to write because there's a lot of writing involved.
Yes,
in that book.
Because she's a life coach, she really does give you, she literally gave me homework assignments. Okay, so for this week, you're going to do this, like the way she broke down the show for me was she said, okay, we're going to start small. I want you to write the first 2 pages. I thought, okay, great. I went home and I'm looking at the blank screen. If anybody's ever tried to write and you look at a blank screen, you're like, how, what? So I go back to her the following week and she's like, oh, can you have the 2 pages? I'm like, nope. She's like, what happened? I said, I don't know how to start. She said, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go. I just want you to write 1 paragraph about what you want the show to be about. What's the show about? When you do that, then I want you to get 12 to 15 highlights of your life, both good and bad. And I said, okay. So I brought that to her the following week, right? That's doable.
Sure.
So then she goes, this is what your show is about. And here are the scenes. And I said, oh, okay. I could do that.
Yeah, it clicks.
It didn't happen quickly. I mean, I worked on it for a long time. It took the whole process between talking about doing it and getting it on stage. It was a year, which actually is a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's not that long at all, actually.
Yeah. But I rewrote it like 6 times. And John Leguizamo really inspired me. And believe it or not, the show Hamilton inspired me. I hadn't even seen the show. But there's something about the soundtrack that gets me pumped.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing away my shot. And why do you write like you're running out of time? I love that line.
Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
So whenever I write anything, that's the song I listen to in my head,
Right.
And now I'm actually writing the book for No Reason to Cry for the show.
Oh, so perfect.
If people can't see it, they can read it.
That's great. Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic. And take that line from that song and write a song around it.
Oh, it's so good.
Another one.
I mean, what a brilliant mind he has. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. If I had that mind.
You have it. It's in there. I've seen it. You definitely have it. You definitely have it. You just gotta, like they said, apply it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You pulled off that show. I still can't stop talking about it. So
thank you, John.
Yeah. So everyone come to New York. Come to New York.
Yeah.
Come see it. All right. Now we got to get to the nitty gritty. The bad stuff.
What happened?
COVID. It's destroyed the entertainment business. When's the last time you did a show?
I did 1 show in March in Connecticut. And I remember when I was on stage, I told the crowd, I think this might be my last show for a while.
Really?
And that's before they really locked us down. I just had a feeling. I knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a show in September.
Okay.
And that was at Adventureland because it was outdoors.
Yeah.
And then I did it again in November. And then towards the end of November, I did 1 show in Florida. But I decided I'm not ever doing that again during COVID. It just felt too intimidating being on the plane with so many people. I felt so scared, I would feel so guilty if I made anybody in my home sick. So I decided, that's the last show for a while. So we'll see, options open, fingers crossed. And hopefully, I know this is what I know. The thing about change is that it's always inevitable. Yes. So it's not always going to be like this. We just have to hold on long enough. And you have to remember that for every day that passes is a day we're closer to the end. So Correct. We just have to hang in there.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Would you do local shows though, if they came about at this point? Like if you got an offer for this weekend, would that be something you would do, not having to travel?
The first thing I would ask is how many people are there.
Okay.
The next thing I would ask is where's the stage? Who's performing? Do I have my own room? I'd have a whole bunch of conditions because I have an immune system that's compromised because I have multiple sclerosis.
Right.
So I have to be really careful. I'm one of those people that if I get it, it'll be dangerous for me. So I try really hard. So there would be no meet and greet, and that breaks my heart because the meet and greet I look forward to that.
That's you, yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to that. It's my opportunity to talk to the fans directly, to give them a hug, to take a picture with them. They stand online, right? They pay
Yeah.
to get in, then they buy drinks, and then they stand. Especially the women, they're standing all night in heels.
Hmm.
The least you could do is take a picture with them. So I feel horrible when I can't do that. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, it's possible, but like I said, that would be my first question. How many people? Where is it? Do I get
Right.
my own room? You know, when I did Florida, I was very strict. I want no one backstage. No one gets pictures. Nothing. You know, and I was still scared because most of the people in the audience weren't wearing masks, and that scared me.
Yeah,
You know.
no. And I know for you that's a tough thing. Like you said, you love doing that meet and greet stuff
Mhm.
and it's so important. I mean, after the play, if everybody in the audience was there, you would have taken a picture with them. You know, you
Yeah,
lined
I
them all
did. I stayed,
afterwards. Yeah.
especially that first night, the opening night, that opening weekend. Oh my God, there was, my feet were killing me. I was like, oh my, oh, but you know, it was such a cool thing
Thrill.
too because I
Yeah.
didn't think people were gonna stay to get their playbill signed, and I had a playbill. I
I
was like,
know.
oh my God, I have a playbill. I cried so hard when I saw that playbill. I cried so hard. It
And
was
I got a box of tissues.
Yeah, we had the producer of the show had this idea. Let's do tissue boxes that say no reason to cry on. I was like, oh, that's freaking brilliant.
That's great.
Brilliant. I love that. That's one of my favorite things about the show is that box.
Yeah, that was fun. I still got it somewhere.
Yeah, I have mine too.
All right. Growing up, what were some of your musical influences?
Judy Garland,
Right. We
Barbara
talked about that.
Streisand,
Okay.
Donna Summer, Stacey Lattisaw, and French Jolie.
Very cool.
And you know, the Bee Gees. I listened to a lot of Bee Gees, a lot of Bee Gees.
Yeah.
And still the musicals. I was a musical. When Grease came out, forget, I must have listened. I must have seen that 10 times at least.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
went
that was a good
over
one.
and over and over and over. I love musicals. I don't know. Some people think it's ridiculous, you know, how people are just, you're talking and all of a sudden you break out in song and dance. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. You and my daughter would get along real well. She just listens to it nonstop. Like she probably watched and listened to Les Mis 1,000 times.
I saw Les Miserables 13 times on Broadway.
Wow.
13 times. I never got sick of it. I think it's one of the most beautiful stories about humanity and redemption. I love that story. It's very touching to me.
Yeah.
I
No, it's
love that
definitely a
story.
great one.
It's definitely sad. It's very tragic. My mother was like, "Why do you love this? This is miserable." And that's why they call it Les Miserables.
That's why they call it that.
But I loved it. I loved it. Loved it.
That's funny. Say hello to Nick Wax is in there in the audience
Nick.
watching.
Hi, Angela De Stefano. Hi, hey, Brenda.
Brenda's here.
Brenda K. Star is here.
Yeah,
Hi,
Brenda's
Lena.
hopefully going to be on the show next month. So.
Oh, you totally need to have her. You want to talk about a woman who constantly reinvents herself? That's Brenda.
Yep. No, I mean, her idea for doing that Christmas show was brilliant. So.
Standing ovation. When I saw that, oh my God, this girl is so smart. She's got a great business mind too.
Yes, 100%.
She's got a great business mind. She's just really smart. I remember when she said, I think I'm going to try salsa, and boom, she blew up. She did amazing. Amazing. She's
cool.
a manifestor. Whatever she decides to do, she makes it happen.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's really cool. What's up, Lino? We got Lino in house. Brenda's here. You said hello to Angelo. CJ's here. CJ said, "Oh my God, you talked to Judy." I talked to her all the time.
CJ is one of the biggest freestyle freaks. He comes to every event that I do, whether it's musical or not. He came to Zumba when I was teaching Zumba. He literally supports everything that I do.
Yeah, I actually met CJ through another friend of mine that goes to all the freestyle shows and stuff, and so yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's think modern day. I mean, I know that you talked about you might do an album coming up soon, hopefully, once this is all over with and we get some time to get outside. Are there anybody that you'd want to collaborate with? A dream collaboration or two? There's a lot.
I feel like make fun of me if you want to.
Never.
I would love to sing with Michael Bublé.
Okay.
And I would love to sing with Bruno Mars.
That'd be hot.
And Adele.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that would do it. Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Okay. We'll see what we can do.
And I love, I didn't mention her before, but I love Lara Fabian. I don't know if you've heard of her before.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I love Lara Fabian, and I love all her stuff in French. She's just, she's amazing. Love, a great vocalist.
Yeah, she's like the modern day Celine. You know what I mean? She's a little bit more, contemporary. Very cool. So, anything else going on that we should know about, Judy?
Well, like I said, I do private life coaching. I do group life coaching as well. Like if you can get a group of 5 or more people, I can do that. I do workshops. I'm planning on doing a workshop coming up soon. I'm working on it right now. It'll probably be via Zoom because everything's virtual now, but the workshop will be about red flags, how to spot them, and why we ignore them when we see them.
Very cool.
Because everyone, especially in relationships, you see a red flag, and yet for some reason you live in denial. We're the only species of animal that run towards danger instead of running away from it.
No, that's totally true. It's crazy, actually.
So yeah, this is a life coaching I'm working on I'm writing the book now. I'm on page 102 now.
Okay.
So I'm excited, And I guess that's it. I cook when I can or when I want to, whichever I'm feeling in the moment. And that's it. It's just like I said, it's hard for me, just like everyone else. I know it's rough for everybody else. And I just choose to stay positive, and that's what you have to do. But that doesn't mean that I haven't had moments where I've been in the bathroom shower crying just to like let it out.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
What we're really doing is we're all grieving the life that we used to have. That's what it is.
That's so true. It's like, we became so accustomed to doing things. And then, when it's, you first told it's 2 weeks and it's 2 months. And then it's like, all right, we've been almost a year now. And you've kind of lost everything, and you lose who you are almost in it, because you're used to going out and doing things in a certain way. And now you have to adapt. And, humans adapt, but they still like to be comfortable in what they know, I think. Yeah.
And here's the thing, too. We hate change.
Yes.
And if you identify who you are with what you do, and all of a sudden you can't do that, then you're lost.
Yes.
So this is a perfect time for people to assess, without their careers, who are you really? Without your career, who are you really? What do you represent? What do you believe in? That kind of thing. It's a nice time to assess your relationships, what's working, what's not working. Things like that. Get rid of the excess stuff in your house. Reorganize things. That's all the things that I used to complain that I was too busy to do that I wanted to do. That's what I've done now. It's just that it's lasted so long now. I've run out of things to do. So
there's nothing left.
Everything. I decluttered everything. Everything's alphabetized. Everything. It's done.
That's so funny. A few more people post in here. George wrote that one of his favorite Judy songs was the one you did with Artie. Artie Rodriguez wrote a song entitled "The Man with a Dream." He wrote it for Eddie Rivera, who was part of the RPBC record pool back in the day. He was responsible for a lot of our songs getting into DJ's hands. Hi, Angela. Yes. So it was a really good song because it had beautiful words to it, and even though it never got on the radio, it's one of my favorite songs. Yeah. There you go. Is that something you would do in a show, maybe?
If he asked me to. Sure.
Okay. There you go. Sure. All you got to do is ask.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I love the song. I love the song. It's a great song.
Very cool. Well, we're actually going to raid a channel now on Twitch. And do you know what that is?
No.
It's kind of like we take all our Twitch viewers and we just send them to some other channel so that we can watch and they get viewers. So that's kind of cool.
Okay.
If I had more followers, this is only my 4th show. I'd go to a really small person so they could grow, but we're going to go to a bigger person tonight. So
that's all right.
We're all playing throwbacks.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Absolutely. And it's been fun.
From now, and you'll ask me back and we'll talk about the 250,000 followers you have.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. But thank you so much, Judy, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
And by the way, you did a great interview.
Oh, thank you.
Those are really good questions. And fun too.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that. You know, I'm new. I'm a new interviewer, but I've been around the
that
block
was,
a few
it
times.
was good. Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
So thank you. Let's do this raid. We're gonna go raid DJ Twin Spin. He's doing some R&B and hip hop throwbacks from the 80s and 90s. So that should be fun. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back next week. I think next week we're gonna have on some of the remixers and guys that do radio edits. For so the DJs can play them on their mix shows.
Nice.
Should be an interesting chat. So we'll see you then. Upcoming shows, we got a lot of great people, but stay tuned. We're all good. And all right, thanks again, Judy, and I'll talk to you soon.
Stay safe, everybody.
Let's do this.
Bye.
I don't know how long this is going to take to raid, but 10 seconds it looks like. All right, we'll keep going. Who's there? Caramel. There you go.
Yay, thank you.
Tap raid now. I have no idea what to do here. I'm not good at this. There we go. All right, we just raided him. So
All right.
Thank you. All right, hold on, Judy.